Live, and we are live. Whoop 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 whoop. Yay, yeehaw, yeehaw, yeehaw. And camera's coming up now. Woohoo. Okay. 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 Oh shoot.
It does
Hold on.
that.
Now. Speak again quick. Because all of a sudden now your audio isn't coming through. I can hear you. I can hear you, but now it just isn't coming through.
Oh my goodness.
There it goes. Now it is. Now we got it.
Right.
We're good. We're good.
Woohoo! All right.
Okay.
Technical difficulties aside. Oh goodness, I look frozen. I'm gonna give it a second though.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. So, welcome to the Pagan View Point. Inaugural episode, 1.1.
Yes.
So, this is always a great time. Inaugural episodes are always a ton of fun. Hi, Market Bloke. This is live, 100% live.
Hi.
And so you can tell it is live because there are some fun little technical difficulties, which is a good time. So
Yeah.
I am Caleb Van Voren, and that is lovely Miss.
I am Alyssa Ravenwood.
Yeah.
We are going to be the primary hosts of this little show here.
Yeah, which is really, really amazing. So, so this is the first of what we hope to be a very long and illustrious show. The first take went really, really well.
It really did, and now it feels like we have to match up to that. But,
match that energy. But
I'll go first with the basic introductions then, since I'm so used to introducing myself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I am Alyssa Ravenwood. I am a married mother of 3. I've been married for going on 12 years. I've been with this man since I was 17. I'm also a practicing witch. I come from a family of witches, so I think that's a pretty interesting perspective, considering that I see publicly very often. I started my social media career in 2002, or at least right. It was a bit of a false start. I've had a few false starts, but I figure something's got to take every event ever so eventually, right? As long as I keep going at it. And then I hit TikTok, and suddenly everything just sort of went whoosh for a little while, and that was greatly enjoyable.
Definitely.
And so now we're hoping that this is going to last for a little while, because I think that it's really important to be diverse viewpoints with all of the things that are going on today, and the city that we have, and the knowledge that we have now that we didn't before. So, I mean, that's going to be my function here, is I am the pagan perspective of all of this. And Caleb here is the sort of neutral, I think we agreed upon, perspective on all of this, where it's like, you're the logical. You're not going to go into all the wooey spiritual stuff and everything.
Oh. That's where I'm going to disagree. And that's where I'll go a little bit into who I am and what I do. So, my name is Caleb Van Voren. So I'm 29. I'm married. No kids over here. For some varied reasons. Not for lack of want. But yeah. So a little bit into what I do professionally. So I am a professional digital marketer. So I help businesses and kind of solo business owners, which is like lawyers, chiropractors, insurance agents, all those develop social media presences. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, email marketing, all that stuff. Grow, expand, develop those social media presences, run ads, and monetize those audiences, and make lots and lots and lots of money. I'm really good at it. It's a lot of fun. So that's what I do professionally. And then on a more personal note, I said I was married. So I've been married legally for about 5.5 years. But wedding was 4.5 years ago. Fun story behind the difference. Like I said, story for another day. But that'll be fun. Stick around, check out future episodes for that time. Be sure to click that that follow and subscribe button. Go ahead and follow if you are on Twitch. Like and turn on notifications if you are on Facebook. And if you check over on YouTube, you can go ahead and subscribe. There will be videos. We would be streaming over on there today, but I needed to wait 24 hours to get permission to live stream. YouTube is silly. So it's kind of the way it is. But be sure to check us out on all those platforms, plus all the social platforms that you'll be able to see. We are Pagan View Point on all major social media platforms. We will also have a podcast coming out. Good times. And yeah, so but I grew up in the in rural Northwest Iowa, the heart of Protestant Christianity. One of the most conservative parts of the country. I grew up in the district that elected Steve King to Congress, a Republican so racist that he's too racist for Republicans. Gave a speech on the floor of the House so racist that Republicans removed him from his congressional committees, which is saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're too racist for Republicans in 2019, that's an oof.
I grew up in Houston, Texas. It is definitely deep red. And even they would not touch that.
Yeah. Yeah. So So I grew up very, very devout Christian. But as I grew up and went to look at it this way, I voted for Mitt Romney in 2012. Oof, greatest shame of my life. Greatest shame of my life. Voted for the GOP in 2010 and 2012. Oof. Comments in 2012. I have Facebook comments from 2012 about how Sandy Hook was a false flag. Yep. Not ashamed, but
you are proof that people can grow. You are proof.
Yeah, ashamed.
You are definitely.
Oh, thank you so much, Tony, for sharing the stream. Appreciate it.
Nice.
But yeah, I am proof that people can grow, and like I said, I'm ashamed, but I am not a liar. Willing to share the shame. But yeah, so as I grew in age, I drifted far on from Christianity, and while I cannot claim to be a pagan at this point, very, very much not so. I'm not really a Christian either. I mean, if you could say I believe in Jesus, to a point. But for the most part, you could say I don't really think that the need for a God exists at all. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really matter. I don't think it really changes the way that you interact with people or the world or the universe. It doesn't change anything, whether God exists or not. So that's kind of where I stand. And so that kind of dovetails into a little bit of kind of what the show's supposed to be about. It's called Pagan View Point, but we only have one pagan on the show. We
so
probably
far,
will have others in the future as guests, but the show's going to be American centric, but we'll touch on global matters. We're going to be looking at them from the viewpoint of both a pagan perspective as well as a bit more of a kind of a neutral perspective who's on a journey, so to speak.
I mean, we don't very often hear the pagan perspective about the comings and goings of everyday. It's always taken over by either people who are neutral and don't generally talk about their spirituality, or for people who are very obviously Christian. And so, I mean, our culture in paganism gives us, in many ways, a very different perspective. Even if we do come to conclusions as others, it's completely different.
Yeah, well, exactly, right. Oftentimes in the mainstream media and even in the... oh, thank you very much for the follow, Tony King of Trolls. And yes, the mainstream media and even the independent media, the default perspective, even if they don't say it, you assume they're speaking from a Christian perspective, or a Western perspective, even just a Western Christian perspective by default, and often that's, I don't know, it's just incomplete and ineffective for a lot of reasons. And so we're kind of here to challenge that.
Yeah, I think that the diversity in perspectives, like, I think incomplete is a good way to describe it, because, I mean, that's one facet of the human experience. But if you're looking at a jewel for a single facet, you're going to miss all of the beauty.
Yeah.
And so this perspective is just a different side of that gem of our species. It's not that we're really all that different. It's just that our perspectives are different. Our cultures are different. I think that all of that is worthy of being shared. And we'll really only find the ways that they fit together in some semblance of harmony.
Yeah. And one thing that, like, one great example that it really reminds me of is that a huge part of the Western world refers to a period of medieval history as the Dark Ages, even though medieval historians even have stopped referring to it as that. But for almost 800 years of human history as the Dark Ages. But it's like, you know, that wasn't the Dark Ages for everyone, right? Like, the Eastern world was thriving during that time period, right? They weren't experiencing the Black Plague or constant war, right? Like, science and astronomy and, like, trade and their economies were booming during that time frame.
Oh yeah.
Like
scientific advancements among the Muslim countries, for example, were pretty much I believe that they were unparalleled.
Yeah, right. Like, it wasn't even close to the Dark Ages, right? Like, and so, but for hundreds of years, it was just referred to as the Dark Ages because that's what the Christian Western-centric perspective, like colonial perspective, was.
Yeah, it was very narrowed down. Nothing else outside of their little bubble map.
Yeah, and so, but adding in different perspectives changes, like adding in a global perspective changes that. And yeah. Whoops. You look a little frozen there.
I'm terrified of the global perspective because it draws it away from their front. Oh goodness.
And then you fast forwarded, and I think we're caught up.
Okay, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why so many conservatives are terrified of the global perspective, though, because we see it from a global perspective. They know that it changes the whole story.
Yeah.
And they don't want that story to, because the story that they have is.
Well, yeah, that's another fun thing is that conservatives are often just like, why don't they teach more about like the conservative perspective in colleges? Well, the conservative perspective is about a dot like this, and you want that dot to equal all the other perspectives, which take up this much space. Like
Yeah.
like the conservative perspective doesn't take up much space in schools because there are a million other perspectives that are taught, and it
there
broadens
are a whole
people's
bunch of other perspectives.
understanding.
That, and I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, if anyone wants to hear about the conservative perspective, it's not as though they do not represent themselves rather loudly. It's not as though a few Google searches wouldn't fill them in.
Exactly. But oh no, they're suppressed.
So we are 15 minutes in, so
Yeah.
I think that we should maybe do our topics, at least our first topic before our first break.
I was going to suggest that actually we since we did manage to introduce ourselves, we take a quick break because I'm just a little bit parched from all that talking, and we'll be back in about a minute.